Good to go.
Okay, this is the September 15, 2025 special meeting of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Is this a special meeting or is this because we didn't have the one on the first?
Yeah, it's special only because we deviated from the previously scheduled calendar, which is the first Monday of every month in the absence of a holiday. So obviously, given the events of last week, we pushed it out 1 week. So it's not because of any special appropriations.
Okay. Fair enough. So the first item on the agenda is approval of the August 4 minutes of the regular meeting.
To
of
switch
DET.
computers.
Has everyone had does someone like?
Tom, can you hear me
move
now?
it? Yeah,
We need to do a roll call first.
oh yeah, roll
We've
call.
got you, Irene.
Yeah, let's do a roll call. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Yep.
All right. Mayor Rilling, Mr. Abrams, Mr. Camacho,
Here.
Mr. Constant,
Here.
Mr. Gilleret,
Here.
Mr. Casimis, Miss Yang.
Here.
We have 4 in attendance. We have a quorum.
Okay. First item on the agenda is approval of the August 4 minutes. Would anyone like to move the item?
So moved, Troy.
All right. Has everyone had a chance to read them? Any changes, additions, deletions, etc.?
I have a few if nobody else does.
Okay.
Go ahead.
In the staff and guest portion, it mentions Deputy Chief Terry Blake with NFD. He is with NPD, not NFD. Page 2 under other business, referencing the contingency tracker. $2 million reserved for retro wage payouts. I want to modify that to specify the balances between fiscal 25, which is 2 million, and fiscal 26, which is 1.25 million. And then on page 3, under this Social Security expense projections, I want that to say yet to be unprocessed allocations. And then in the final section, regarding the 4.7 million leftover authorizations, previously including police vehicles and fire equipment on the transfers that we've done from the 9/11 dispatch project. And I'll coordinate with the minutes taker on the specific language on that.
Okay. Any other changes? All right, all in favor of the minutes as amended or as proposed? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain since I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, 1 abstention. All right, so the motion carries and the minutes are approved as amended. Next item on the agenda is I guess, is there a special appropriations agenda?
No special operating appropriations, but there are special capital appropriations, which we will address in section C and other business.
Okay, so the next item is the transfer agenda. And there appear to be 3 items on the transfer agenda.
Yes, the first one is a request from contingency within the city clerk. Do you have to move this first?
Yeah, I guess we do. Would anyone like to move the
Yes.
transfer items?
So moved, Troy.
All right.
Yeah,
items
first-
moved.
Yeah, the first one is within the city clerk's arena, which Irene is here to discuss, but it is for the annual licensing fee for the Freedom of Information Act software tracking. So just a little background here. We have transitioned IT software costs that are specific to a single area or a unique area into those unique areas. And we had 2 last year within the city clerk's world. One was for the agendas and minutes software tracking, and the other was in the FOIA tracking. And when we did the 26 budget, we only included the agenda and minutes tracking. We neglected to get this one in, and that was a little bit of a fault on our side and a little bit of fault on other sides. But anyway, it's $13,000 for the annual fee for the FOIA tracking. And it's my understanding that's it's going well, and it's worthy of keeping. Irene, you're on mute.
I'm muted. It's working very well. Previously, when the city received FOIA, which is the Freedom of Information Act requests, they went to the specific departments, and oftentimes they were missed, and they have very stringent rules which made the city liable. We incur heavy fines only because staff does so many things and they forget about this. So now we've signed on to this next request platform that filters all the requests to the city clerk's office. We're able to log, track, and respond accordingly. And we're also able to track, for lack of a better word, frivolous FOIA requests, and able to address those. So it's been very effective, very, very for all of us. Thanks.
Okay, any questions? All right, no questions. The item's been moved. Shall we just take them? Sorry, I've got a dog in the background. Shall we address them one at a time, or would you like to address them all three at the same time? Does anyone have a preference one way or the other? Let's,
I think we can do all three at the end, Ed.
yeah, okay, all right. So
yeah.
the next item is Public Works Department.
Yeah, and if I may just add on Irene's item, it's already on my list for 2027 budget to-dos to include that in the request, so we won't have to go through this again. Yeah, the next one is Public Works. I'm not sure if Delene is on, but I can talk to this. Basically, they had a last-minute fuel request that came in over budget. This is for fiscal 25. I will add, and we already processed this, but with the caveat that we would come back to the BET for a retroactive approval. We had to do this before Munis shut down in mid-August to get this payment through. But the basic explanation is fuel costs have gone up. You probably remember the police chief being here on a number of occasions trying to get additional vehicles or replacement vehicles. And we went from Ford Explorers to Chevy Tahoes. And that went well in terms of getting them sooner and faster. But the Tahoes take a lot more gas than the Explorers, apparently. So this transfer for additional fuel cost is largely attributed to the Tahoe increased fuel expense.
So this is going to be an ongoing expense, presumably, as an
Yes.
additional expense because of that.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll make sure that adjustment is included in the 27 request.
So it's not attributable in any way to the increases or decreases in the gas prices.
I think they're locked into pretty long-term contracts, Ed. I don't know if they're more than a year, but we get a pretty decent rate given the volume that we buy. It's far more favorable than what you and I pay for. But yeah, I believe it's annual contracts, and we do pretty well on those.
Okay. Any other questions?
So is this shortage a 2025 fiscal item expense, or is it a 2026?
2025.
So it's not reflective in this budget this operating budget that we're currently in.
No, but we may have to have a similar conversation during this year on this as well.
Okay, that's fine.
Any other questions? All right, item number 3, Parks and Rec or Recs and Park.
Yeah, this is Ken Hughes World and Rec and Parks. He's not able to join us tonight, but I can speak to this. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years ago, they made a decision to hire a full-time electrician in the Rec and Parks world to handle a lot of one-off issues. Wiring for whatever facility and so on and so forth, to save from the expense of hiring outdoor contract or outside contractors. Worked very well for a while, and to the point that this individual, the electrical contractor that they had, was helping out at City Hall and other departments, and it was a win-win for many people. Unfortunately, that individual left, and they are trying to hire someone else to fill that role, but struggling with offering a competitive salary. So in the interim, they want to switch some funding, $47,000, from their full-time salaries, which is what was allocated for the electrician, to their other operating supplies, which is what they will use to pay outside contractors. So they don't want to do this, but they don't have anybody. They are attempting to hire someone as quickly as possible, but in the interim, it will have to be outside contractors.
Okay. Any questions? All right. All right, the items having been previously moved. All in favor of the transfers as proposed, signify by saying aye. Opposed? All right, so the items carry. And what's next on the agenda? You indicated that there are in section C, there are other appropriations on the capital side.
Yeah, there's one capital appropriation for the fire department. You'll recall that we were talking about the Broad River Station and the floor that needed to be replaced urgently. And we have Mark Conti here. Now that they've begun work, they've discovered some other items that need to be addressed. And Mark, you can take it from here.
Thanks, Tom. Good evening, everybody. So basically, we started the slab, the removal, and uncovered quite a bit of things. As you all know, it's the original slab. That slab was one thing I will say. I'm glad that we did it when we did. It was when we discovered it was actually broken in. It was split in half throughout the whole slab. But as we opened it up, we found a lot of electrical rotten within the slab, which was going up the walls as well. All of that has to be replaced, to come up to code, obviously for fire safety code compliance. We had a deck in the back that was there. It's over 25 years. It was there longer than me. We tried to be able to work around it, but the deck was literally falling off the building. So that had to be replaced. Same thing with the glass, the sliding door, which was rotten because of basically the improper, there was no drains on that side because the pipes had collapsed and there was water just sitting there. So that was completely rotten. The insulation, and I itemized it down for you, but the insulation was almost non-existent in the ceiling because we had the tiles were all coming off, and where it was, there was some evidence of rodents. So we're just going to spray it in and keep it wide open now and keep it clean. So it's really all these little costs that have happened. We've had some deductions as well, as you can see in there. We changed the phases from 4 phases to 2 phases, which saves us $31,000. We deducted another $3,200, basically an electrical deduction. We got some demo credit because there were certain things that we didn't have to do that we thought we were going to have to do. So all in all, we were short, about 75,000, and I anticipate, because we're about to do the last part of the slab, and I anticipate we're with the electrical and the water line. We actually found a 2-inch water line underneath the slab as well, which we obviously have to remove. We don't want to leave that in there as well. So That's the request is 90,000 to cover the end of the job and replace and repair everything that, you know, properly that needed to be repaired.
Okay. Any questions?
So looking at your summary page, so what was the amount that we originally approved for this? Was it the 600,000?
Yeah, 660 with contingent with our contingency. Tom, that was the correct number, right? So I believe it was
Yes.
yeah.
So that gets you to an additional need for 73 plus 15 of contingency
Yeah.
plus another 5
Yes.
gets you to 90. And you have these funds in another capital account?
Yeah, and I think you missed the last BET meeting, but we had the police chief here. That was the funds are coming from the 9/11 dispatch project, which was budgeted originally at roughly 13 million, and it came in roughly at 8 million. For a number of reasons, technological improvements, able to use additional towers that saved a lot of money. So there are still funds within that project. And the next step for us, we're going to be going through all of the older capital projects, including that 911 dispatch one, to close them down. And this will likely be the last time we do a transfer from that fund. I'm sorry, from that project.
Okay, and we're going to go through, and this is I have no problem with this request. I mean, the work has to be done. What I've seen over the years is it never seems to stop where there's an overage, somebody has an overage, and they're able to take on new capital projects because of their overage. And that's overage above an original capital, whereas I think what you're indicating is that you're going to close down all open capital expenditure accounts, sweep it back into the general fund, and allow future capital projects to be allocated as a standalone and not just saying, well, we can do this because we have this overage here. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, we're there's a bit of a data cleanup that needs to be done. It hasn't been done in quite some time. So yeah, there are many projects going as far back as 2006 that need to be shut down. So that is that's on my list of things to do. But the biggest one is that 911 dispatch project that came in roughly $5 million under budget. But we don't. It's not good practice to keep chipping away at that. We want to close it down and keep a tight watch on everything else.
But just to be clear, I'm sorry, Ann, I think you mentioned this would be swept into the general fund. I don't believe that capital,
No,
that these funds have been allocated or anything, right? They're just, they haven't been bonded. In other words, they would have to be bonded, right? For the monies to be there.
this particular project, the communication project was bonded. We have the bond, we have the proceeds.
Okay, so
we're redirecting them for other uses. And you know, just to give a little bit more color, you know, if it while those proceeds are still there, if there are emergent, I'll say emergencies like this that come up, then we'll use that. But and the intention is to use it for because we need to use those proceeds for something. We need to you know, they're just in this case they're just kind of sitting there. So we would use them for existing authorizations unless some other kind of emergency comes up. So it's not to we're not the plan is not to find new projects to use this money on.
And when was the 9/11 project completed?
Probably within the last 12 to 18 months, I would say.
So that extra $5 million has just been extra for the last.
Yeah, so we've actually tapped into that a few times for fire trucks. And the initial 660 on Broad River was funded from that as well.
And that money sits in an account that our financial advisor, our investment advisor, I should say, tracks. So it's with other bond proceeds, and they're tracking it and putting into accounts that are making interest rates to keep us out of jeopardy of having an arbitrage situation.
How does it work relative to disclosure to the bondholders? If when we went out with the prospectus, we bonded something for 12 million, we came in at 8, which is fine. But how does it work relative to disclosure of us being able to redirect effectively a third of those funds that they agreed to bond?
We have to disclose it, and we have to go through the right process of redirecting that and being able to show our bond counsel so that they can make note of it to the bond holders, how that money is being redirected and redirected appropriately. We clear these whenever we do these. We go to bond counsel first and say, hey, we know that this money is out there. We want to use it for X instead. What's the proper thing to do? How does the language have to read? All those kinds of things to make sure we're in compliance.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't believe this item was moved. I think there's a resolution associated with it. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is.
Okay. So let me read the resolution, and then someone can move it, and we can either continue this discussion or vote on it. Be it resolved that a special capital appropriation of $90,000 is hereby transferred from the combined dispatch capital project for the communications upgrade account 092 136 105777 C0638 to the city's fire department for the floor replacement project at Station 1, located at 90 New Canaan Avenue. Project specifics are detailed and described in Exhibit A attached here too. Transfer of funds will go to account 09263110577 C058.
8-4.
8-4, thank you. Would anyone like to?
Yeah,
move
so
that item?
I'll move it. It's Troy.
Okay.
Before
more
we vote, I'd like to just, Ms. Ed, just to follow up what Ann said, Jared. Yeah, I know this is not the same thing as what I think we're referring to, or I'm referring to, is when we have projects like the schools or something, and there's leftover funds, and then it gets conveniently slid over to another project that needs assistance. I just feel that money should go back to the general fund first and then be reallocated. It just seems too easy to make that transition. I think that's what Ann was talking to. That's what I'm referring to. So
Yeah, it's not a general fund item. These are bond funds.
That's fine. I just remember 10 years ago, there was a department that came in and they had, I don't know, $5 million extra, and they decided that they wanted to put that $5 million extra into other fire department funds versus having it go, given that we've got a whole capital budgeting process, having that money come back and having whoever does the capital budget approvals decide, do we want it to go to these projects, or do we want it to go to a field or something else within the context, the overall context of the city?
Right.
And that was easily 10 years ago, and we still have it going on.
Right. So this
my specific example would be, I think Cranberry had an overage in their capital funds. We used extra funds that were over budgeted there, and we used it for, I think, the South Norwalk Community Center. Is that correct, Jared? That was a couple of months ago.
I think that was right. I remember there was definitely a transfer.
Yeah, there definitely
you
was.
may
I'm just
be-
saying,
you
I
may
just
be-
want to be careful with that kind of stuff. That's all.
Yep, and any of these will have to go through you guys, and so that's part of the process. It has to be done that way.
Yeah,
I
that's,
understand.
that's what I was gonna suggest. We are the body, I think, that makes those, that approves those things. So that's why it's coming to us.
I'll
No,
say,
I appreciate that, but it just, uh, yes, I appreciate that. That's fine.
and I'll say that you guys are the first step in the process, then it's planning and zoning, then it's finance and claims, then it's the full common council.
It
So
goes through everyone. Okay, good.
it's a 4-step process, and depending on how the calendar lines up, that can be 6 to 8 weeks. So when people ask for this, I tell them that, and they have to be prepared to defend their request.
Great.
So it's a rigorous process for the right reasons.
Good.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor of the resolution as read, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, the resolution carries. And the,
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
yeah, thank you, Mark. And the balance of the agenda, I guess, the contingency tracker, is that?
Yeah, I'll talk to a bit. We're still talking about the fiscal 25 balance of just over 2 million, primarily because of the retro wages on the recently approved labor contracts. We still do not have final definition on all of them. We have 6 out of the 6, 6 out of the 7 finalized, but still waiting for one more that we hope to have next week. So that balance remains and will be reallocated to the various departments that are over after the retro adjustments. And then in terms of fiscal 26, we started the year with 1.29 million. We're at 1.26 after one request for the fire department a month or so ago on one of the fire truck engines, and then the additional $13,000 tonight for the city clerk on the FOIA software. So that'll bring us down to just over 1.2 million.
Okay.
I have two things is going forward, when we talk about an employee hire, could we please price that fully loaded with benefits? So for example, in this TMT hire, where it's wages for 50 grand, I don't think that probably includes the overall cost to the city. So I think you need to fully load it in order to really understand the full expense requirements to the city for it.
Okay.
I mean, this is fine the way it is.
Yeah. So the different line items, what we highlight is the specific line item to that department's salary expense, but the benefits go to another line, but we can give those components separately.
Yeah, so you just add wages and, benefits in a separate line item associated with that individual. The other thing is, maybe you went through this last meeting, but can we have a summary of where we are on the labor negotiations? And when you talk about something retroactive, Tom, what are the implications and what does that mean?
You want to take this, Jared, or you want
Yeah,
me
sure. Yeah, so we have everything's been negotiated. I believe that everything has been signed. There were a couple of stragglers that had some, nipping and tucking to do on language. But so the salaries going forward. So for FY 26, they're all those rates are in place. So we're calculating, you know, any of the checks that are going out or have been going out. I would say within the last two or three pay periods have included the updated amounts. And so the question has been about the retro payment that Tom was just talking about. Last week, I would say 98% of the retro payments went out to the employees, and we have a small portion that that's expected to go out either this week or next week, more likely this week.
And the financial ramifications of that, and then what are the terms of the contracts?
So we can get you the terms of the contract. You know, probably not something that we could cover in summary here, but we can certainly forward you some information because it covers it's not just a wage contract. There are other elements to it as well.
Correct.
And then as far as the financials, we will be once we have these last little bits of payment go out, we'll give you a summary of what the total cost is for the retros. And then we're still analyzing going forward and doing projections going forward for this year to figure out how much is, you know, we obviously put money into Tom put money into the budgets of each of the departments, and we have the contingency. And so we're looking at the full effect of all the changes that affect salaries to try to determine what's going to need to come out of contingency, go into the departments, and when we do that.
What is the order of magnitude? One of the retro, just estimate. I mean, is it 100,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 10 million? Order of magnitude.
Yeah, it's over so the retro payment was over 2 million.
Okay. And so that means, and the retro payment was over what period of time? 3 months?
No, that was a full year. That was FY 25.
Oh, okay. So that means the adjustment we would make to the fiscal 26 budget would be an additional, call it 2 million or 2.5 million as well.
Again, some of that, the adjustment, so what was there was money put into each of the departments, and there's money in contingency. So we, right now we're doing that analysis to determine whether or not any adjustments need to be made. Right now, the goal is that any adjustments that need to be made would just be money going from the contingency bucket and allocated to the departments. That's what we're counting on for the adjustment being made, and nothing more than that. But again, we're doing that analysis now to see if that's the case.
Yeah. And if it is in excess of the contingency, or to leave some money in the contingency, can we find expense reductions within the departments?
We will cross that bridge when we come to it, for sure.
Great,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just following up on that, Jared. This negotiating is very tricky in the public world here. Is there a way to put money aside in the contingency without making that money public knowledge? Because, I mean, you're kind of giving away your hand in a negotiating scheme. I don't quite understand how you could negotiate when everyone knows what you're willing to give.
Yeah, it's not, it's a common question, and it comes up, and every municipality deals with this about how to do that, because we have to be transparent about how much money we're putting into the budget. What we don't do is say, all right, we're gonna, you know, we're putting in 3% increase, or 2.5% increase, or 3.5% increase. It's a dollar amount, and so it's not, while somebody who's very diligent may be able to back their way into roughly what that relates to in terms of a percentage increase. There are other factors that go into it, because we have to look at step increases that are already programmed in and things like that. So it's not as simple for somebody to just back into a percentage based on the amount that we're putting in there. And also, there's nothing saying that we have to give every union the same percentage increase. So, while on average, somebody could look at that dollar amount and back into an overall percentage increase, it doesn't mean that every union is going to get the same amount. So I know what you're saying. And it's always a concern, but I don't know if anybody's really figured out another way around it. So
that's what it is. That's traditional. You did that in Fairfield. I mean,
yeah.
it's just not a great way to play poker. That's all.
Yeah.
Also, having said that, I just want to congratulate you and your team on the AAA rating that came out. Great job, and 1 year at a time, as they say. No more easy years.
Thanks.
Yeah,
If you wanted, I was going to give a little report on it. Tom, I don't know if we're there yet, or if you guys want to hear it now, or
Yeah, if I could just jump in to finish up Troy's question. In terms of the contracts and how to budget for the contingency, one of the reasons we put it into contingency overall is to, for lack of a better term, to give it a bit of ambiguity. Like if we put 3% into the police and 2% into the fire and 2.5% into rec and parks, then that would give them a crystal clear signal of where we're heading in terms of the negotiations. I think when we lump it together in contingency as an overall citywide type of thing, I think that gives us a little bit of wiggle room. We can say, we're not completely showing our hand. We have an idea of where we think we will end up. Jared and I and others, we're actively engaged with CCM, the Connecticut Council of Municipalities. They put out monthly labor reports of how negotiations are going with other municipalities and other unions statewide. So we have a pretty good idea of where the landing spot is in terms of negotiations. And recently it's been, say, 2.5-ish to 3.25-ish. Depending on the union and whether or not it's public safety that has its own unique characteristics. So there's no magic wand on how to do this, but you try to conserve your hand as much as you can, but it's not a perfect science.
Any other questions? All right. So this might be a good time, Jared, to go. Oh, the New York Norwalk Public School construction monthly project update. Is that something that's?
Yeah, we don't have Alan here. That was more informational, as is the rest of the stuff, the financial reports. So unless anybody has any specific questions on where we stand on Oak Hills or Lisa B on the tax collection, they both have the night off, and we can move to Jared on the recent bond sale if nobody has any questions.
All right, Jared.
all right. So we had the give presentation to the rating agencies. That was on August 21st. And it as you probably know, it takes a while to get to that point. There's probably about 2 months worth of work being coordinated by our well, broadly being coordinated by our municipal financial advisor, Bill Lindsay at Munistat. He heads up the whole thing, and then Tom on our end internally was working with all the departments to get the information that we need to put together. And it literally it hits just about every department that we have to get something from, whether it's a some kind of legal confirmation or notice from Corporation Counsel or DPW reporting on assets and infrastructure. Obviously, economic development is directly involved in making the presentations with us. So our presentation is about half and half, about half financial, and then about half economic, demographic. And so it's a good mix. And the rating agencies like to hear both parts of that. The economics of the city are very important to them, to see what's happening with the grand list, what kind of developments are going on. That's really important. We had this bond offering was for $53 million. We had the sale on September 3rd. And let me go back. Yes, we had the AAA rating reaffirmed, stable from both the rating agencies, Moody's and S&P. So AAA with a stable outlook. On September 3rd, we did the actual bond sale. We had a pretty amazing participation and interest. We had 15 bids. We do is a competitive sealed bid process, at least what we've done the last 2 years. And so we had 15 bids from 15 different entities. That's more than I've ever been involved in. It's more than the city has had in at least the last 10 years. And so that was great news. And we had a really decent rate at 3.69% on the GO bonds. We've watched Bill Lindsay continues to watch sales, and even after our issuance, after our bond sale, and he makes note of different comps, looking at other municipalities of about the same size in the region, in like the tri-state region. And the ones that he has seen have been a little bit more, probably about 20 basis points over the rate that we got. So we're very happy about that.
Jared, how many years is that? Is that 30 years? 25, 30 years?
So it's a mix of maturities, and they look at the life of the projects and tie the maturity to that, to the life of the projects. We have Tom, I don't know if you're I'm going to say the average was somewhere between like 11 and 13 years. It's somewhere,
okay.
somewhere around there.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
The only thing that goes out 30 years is the schools.
Schools.
The rest of the stuff, paving, sidewalks, all that other stuff brings the tenor down.
Yeah.
Great.
We did there was some bond premium in there. So in reality, at the end of the day, the amount issued was closer to 50. It was just over 50 million, because we got about 2.5 million in bond premium. And so that enabled us to issue even less than we had planned on, which is a good thing. We did have it'd be remiss if I didn't point out that there was some concern expressed, in particular by Moody's, about the fund balance, and we were concerned about that after the presentation, about whether or not that may have an impact on the rating, and we're kind of on the fence about whether there could be possibly a negative outlook, but there wasn't, and so that was good. I think the other positives about the city outweighed it. In particular, the one thing that we always point to and are very proud of is the OPEB, the full funding of the OPEB, and actually overfunding of our OPEB. plan. And it was funny, one of the rating agencies actually made a point during the presentation that they hold it out there when they're talking to other cities and say, hey, look, it's actually possible. And they hold Norwalk out there when during other presentations with other cities to say that it can be done. And so that was good and nice and good to hear. But yeah, between that, the solid, I would say, pension funding level, and keeping our debt within the parameters of where it should be, and also the local economy in particular. The region hasn't been great, but Norwalk's economy and our development has been really good, and so I think that those things really help to in the end to give us the AAA with the stable outlook.
With respect to the fund balance, was it that the fund balance might not be large enough, or is it that the recent dipping into the fund balance was the issue, or was the concern?
It's probably
Yeah.
both. It's probably both.
Yeah, it is a little bit of both. Bill Lindsay had done that calculation beforehand to say that that we are within still the higher range that Moody's wants to see, even though we're getting close to it, and we're getting close to that threshold that would put us below the AAA in terms of that particular aspect of the report. And so that helped us as well with the stable outlook. But to your question directly, Ed, is that as when they're seeing that we have budgeted another drawdown, that's concerning to them, because it may drop us below that threshold if we don't end the year in a better position. Doesn't guarantee that we're going to have a negative outlook next year. There are all those other factors, and they'll look at everything else. And we are ending the FY25 year with about a $3 million deficit, and so we're taking both that drawdown that we had budgeted and probably about 3 million more that's going to hit the fund balance in 25. So that'll take it from about 86 million down to about 75 million. And so they're aware of that. They know that we were totally upfront about that. So they understand that even with that, we were still within a safe level.
With respect to our anticipated tax revenues, there are a lot of these projects that were started years ago, the Waypoint and the mall and things like that. Are any of these projects beginning to go online and beginning to sort of yield higher tax revenues to offset some of the stuff that we're talking about?
Yes, the mall one in particular, mall was structured differently than all the other projects, all the other enterprise zone projects. And so that was structured in a way that where most of them ramp up kind of slower at about 10% a year. And so we are, I couldn't tell you exactly which ones, but it all depends on when they started coming online. But as soon as pretty much when the third year hits, the amount that they're contributing in revenue starts to come up by 10% a year. With regard to the mall, they were on a flat 50% glide path per year, and then all of a sudden it's going to go up to 100%. And that happens, I believe, I want to say it's in 27 or 28 that'll all come online.
Okay.
That's because of the tax credits that was built into the deal and everything.
Yes.
So that will go 100% in 2 years?
Yeah, I think it's in about 2 years. Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yep. Because it started a while back.
They were given an option. They could take 50% tax abatement over 7 years, or the step down that a lot of other people have taken, which starts with like 80 or 90% abatement, and then it goes down. I don't know if that's over 5 or 7 years, but they took the
It's usually 7, yeah.
50% over 7 years.
That's good.
Mm.
And the other, right, and the other concern, the other thing regarding the fund balance is that with the next budget we do, not the one we just did, but I mean, we're pretty much right there as far as the fund balance that we need to be at. So there's not going to be a lot of room, assuming revenues don't jump up tremendously.
Right.
There's not going to be a lot of room to dip into that for rainy day fund money or anything at this point.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And one of the things with regard to the deficit, we can actually pinpoint the revenue issues that happened in FY25 and what we reported and what our message was to the rating agencies, and it's true, is that there were timing issues. Each one of those things, for the most part, they were timing issues. For example, we had the tax sale that happened. We had budgeted the tax sale revenue to come in FY25, but because of the lag time and how long it takes that process to play out, most of that revenue ended up coming in 24 in FY24, which is why we saw the higher surplus in 24. So there was very little of the tax sale revenue that came in 25. So that was one piece of it. We had then a real fluke thing where we had, I think it was a Spinnaker development deal where they purchased property from the town, and the net impact on the town was 3.3. We've talked about this one before, $3.3 million that we were supposed to see in 25 as well. But just because of the timing and the nuances of coming to an agreement legally and working out all the details, it didn't actually come through until 26. So it was a hit to negative to the 25 budget, but we're picking up that 3.3 million on the actual side in 26. So things like that, a lot of it was
Isn't the Duff money supposed to be coming in, the other half of the 10 million, like 5 million was supposed to be coming in also the next year?
We have a meeting with we actually have to travel to Hartford to meet with the Office of Policy and Management this week, myself and the mayor, and I think Tom Livingston too, to talk with them about what our situation is budgetarily, and talk about the different potential uses of it. That was actually a requirement that they put into this statute, into the law, related to this. So any city that got an increase, a major increase, like we did, and like probably 6 or 8 other cities did, they have to meet in person with OPM before the money can be released to them.
Do you see any issues with that?
No, I don't see any issues with it.
Great.
Thank you for that report, Jared. That's good news all the way around. I mean, we have things to be concerned about, but seems like everyone's keeping their eye on the ball.
Sure.
I have to go to jump off to another meeting. If you guys want to continue and this discussion without me, that's fine, but I do have to get off at this point.
I think we're done, aren't we? Or Tom, or?
Yeah, just 2 administrative points. I want to remind everybody we are in year 2 of the 4-year reval phase in. So there are some speed bumps / hurdles coming that we need to address in the next meeting, I believe, is October 5th. Let me just check the calendar. October 6th. But yeah, hopefully by then we will have all of the retro payments ready to roll, and we'll have contingency transfers ready for review and discussion on that night.
Alrighty.
Can we say welcome to Kimberly? Or at least for me. if she-
Yes, that was covered last month, Ann, but you're welcome to
Kimberly. Thank you.
welcome Kimberly. She is helping me to sleep a little better at night
There we go.
these days. So.
I'm happy to meet you, Ann.
Nice to meet you.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Troy.
All right, we'll see you guys October 5th.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.